Although known worldwide with its white sandy beaches and blue water as a popular holiday destination, the Maldives has faced a political crisis that appears to touch every level of its society. Beginning the midnight of February 1st, the Supreme Court of the Maldives issued a verdict overturning the sentences against 9 convicted criminals and then attempted to unconstitutionally remove the current president, Mr. Yameen Abdul Gayoom, from office. Some have cried foul play, and the opposition has persisted in its demands that President Yameen resign. Some others claim that darker, more sinister forces are afoot. Let's have a look.
The Maldives are no stranger to political unrest and turmoil. The regime of President Yameen Abdul Gayoom, the current president's older half-brother, though brutal and controversial, oversaw a long period of stability, until a young street activist named Mohammed Nasheed rose to prominence in the early 2000s. These years saw numerous protests, clashes with police as President Yameen attempted to hold on to the last vestiges of power, and even riots. As a populist leader, and with considerable foreign backing, the dictator yielded, and the people appeared to have won, and Mohammed Nasheed was elected president in 2008. But Nasheed's government suffered from the same ills as his predecessors. Bribery, corruption, and cronyism became rampant among government officials, most of whom happened to be members of Nasheed's ruling Maldivian Democratic Party, or MDP. Mohammed Nasheed quickly began a war against the Maldivian Supreme Court. Nasheed began to illegally arrest court justices and members of the opposition, including the current president Yameen Abdul Gayoom, in the face of rising dissatisfaction against his rule. Nasheed was forced to resign on February 7, 2012, in the face of mounting public rage. President Nasheed was later sentenced on kidnapping charges, yet managed to flee the country to the United Kingdom, where he currently lives in self-exile. Fast forward 6 years. Things in the Maldives have been improving under the stewardship of the new President Yameen Abdul Gayoom. As the economy grows with increasing investments from renewed friendships with growing powers like China and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, average Maldivians have been able to find comfort and peace, away from the political turmoil, and pursue happier lives. Despite his policies and the improvements the country was facing, on September 2015, the president and his wife, the First Lady, survived an assassination attempt. An explosive device had been placed on his speedboat as it docked at the presidential jetty. While the president was unharmed, his wife sustained multiple injuries and remained hospitalized for months. His vice president, Ahmed Adib, was arrested and found guilty of treason and attempted assassination. So, on the midnight, February 1, 2018, the Supreme Court of the Maldives overturned the sentences of 9 criminals convicted of major crimes. Crimes such as attempted murder, embezzlement, graft, bribery, forgery, and kidnapping. Among them were Mohammed Nasheed, Ahmed Adib, and 6 others who were convicted of major crimes. In the same ruling released that night, the Supreme Court ruled that the Judicial Service Commission, the oversight body for the judiciary, would no longer have the authority to investigate the judges of the Supreme Court, declaring themselves unaccountable to anyone. The following day, the Supreme Court attempted to issue a new ruling which called for the impeachment of President Yameen Abdul Gayoom. Under the Maldivian Constitution, the Supreme Court does not have the right to impeach the president, a right only granted to the parliament. The Maldives Police Service received information that the Supreme Court bench had been bribed. The Maldives Police Service managed to find incriminating evidence of bribery implicating 2 of the Supreme Court justices, Justice Ali Hamid, Chief Justice Abdullah Saeed, Judicial Administrator Hassan Saeed, and the former dictator, President Yameen Abdul Gayoom. They were arrested and are awaiting trial. The opposition, previously harsh critics of the Supreme Court and the Maldivian judiciary, and even Yameen Abdul Gayoom, came to their rescue and called on President Yameen Abdul Gayoom to implement the rulings of the Supreme Court and to resign. The former President Nasheed requested an Indian military intervention through his official Twitter. Sources indicate that the American and British ambassadors to Sri Lanka had supported this coup and were in constant communication with the Supreme Court justices until their arrest. With the crisis behind them, and with the dust settling, life has once again returned to normal. One could walk around the streets of the capital city Male and forget that it was under a state of emergency.